discuss a little bit what conics are first. Now, conics are just shapes where you can cut a cone by a plane and what different shapes you can make. The first shape right here that we cut by the cone, what shape do we think this is?
Circle.
It is a circle. Okay, now instead of cutting it straight across, parallel to the bottom, I'm cutting from the side. What kind of shape do you think that'll be? Oval. And an oval in super math fancy terms is called an ellipse. Okay. Now I'm going to cut straight down from the top. And what kind of shape is that? That is not a triangle. Does not have a point. It is a parabola. And then if we have two cones, one on top of the other, and cut straight down, that's called a hyperbola. It's like a parabola going opposite directions. Okay. You might feel that way, but we still have to do it. Hyperbola. Okay, so today the only thing we're going to talk about, though, is circles. We're going to spend 2 days on ellipses, 2 days on hyperbolas. We've done a bunch of stuff with parabolas, so I'm not really worried about it. Okay? So, standard form of the equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals the radius squared. Okay. The center is h comma k. And the radius is just r. So we don't want r squared, we just want r by itself. Okay? So now we're going to practice a couple of these. If you've got the center and the radius, putting them in the equation. I'm not going to do all of these. I'm probably just going to do number 1 and 3. And then we'll move on. Okay. So I'm going to say x plus 4. Why did I change it? Right? Plus y minus 6 equals, what's 4 squared? 16. That's it. That's the whole thing, guys. You guys remember that from geometry? Right. As long as you've got that formula, you should just be able to plug it in and we should be fine, right? It matters what h and k are.
Yeah, I know, but why? It seemed like, okay, so it's 16 because 4 squared is 16.
Yeah.
What about the negative 6?
What about it?
Why don't we test it?
Why would we? It's squared, so like a circle is half of a, right? So x plus 4 goes like this, squared, right? And y minus 6 goes like this, squared. So those are two things that are halfway. The radius tells me how much I'm stretching it out in 4 directions. Okay? So here's my circle. The radius tells me if it goes like this or shrinks in. Okay? This just is telling me that I'm making those parabolas and where the center is.
So why do we even have a y stuff?
Well, x tells me how far I go right or left. Y tells me how far I go up and down for the center. When we graph it, it'll make sense. Okay. Yes, Michelle.
Why don't we worry about the negative 6?
Because it's, what do you mean? There's a positive, it's a positive 6, so I just keep it negative because the formula has a negative in it.
But for the answer you did 16, so.
Yeah, that's not an answer, that's just the radius. Right? Because it doesn't say x equals anything or y equals anything. It's a formula.
So it's just asking us for the radius, and the radius is just the x.
So you could just do 4 squared with the radius.
Yeah,
So why is there a y?
because it's the bottom of this.
Doesn't-
Can we wait until the graph, please? Because I think it'll make a lot of sense when I graph it.
2 would be.
Okay. Number 3. I'm just going to put it in the formula, and then I promise we'll move on to graphs, and it'll start making sense. Okay, ready? Okay. 1, negative 5 is the center. square root 10 is my radius. So we're just going to stick it in. X minus 1 squared plus y plus 5 squared equals 10. Everybody okay with that? Yes, ma'am.
Can you go back up where it split the equation?
Why what?
Sure.
All right. Now let's look at the graph. You ready? Okay. What is the center of my circle? I went over how much? And I went up or down?
Down.
So it's -4, correct? So that right there, that's my center. Okay? Now, my radius is what? 1, 2. So, okay, do you see the center? Do you see the radius? Where they come in? So the equation then is just x plus 3 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals 4. You guys remember from the parabola unit? When we did x squared, we made half a circle, right? If we do y squared, it makes the reverse of it, right? And these numbers just tell us where we move it. It's like a shift. It tells us if it shifts up, down, right, or left. Okay? And then the 4 at the end is just telling us how big my circle is. Better? Not perfect, but better? Okay. Allison?
First radius was 2.
Okay, because the equation says the radius squared. So when we stick it in, we have to square it. Okay? All right. I'm going to move on to the back. Okay. I like to put the equation back at the top. We have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. H and k are my center, and r is my radius. Okay? Now I'm just going to graph these. Right? What's my center?
-2 and -5.
Good. What's my radius? Good. So I'm going to go to the left 2, up 5. I'm going to go with 3 in every direction. Okay. That's it. Any questions about graphing a circle? Because now we're going to do it when it's not in standard form. Bless you. Okay. Number 3. What's wrong with this equation? It's got what in front of it? Okay, so how are we going to get rid of this 5? Is it being added, subtracted, multiplied, or divided? What's opposite multiplication, guys? We're going to divide by 5, and we get x squared plus y squared equals, what's 80 divided by 5? 16. But okay. What is the center then? There's nothing being added to the x or y, so the center has to be 0, 0. And what's going to be the radius? 4. Okay. So we're going to put a dot on 0, 0. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Are we okay with graphing? I like to go in every direction because then I feel like I can draw my circle better. And then that is what I'm going to count like for your quiz, is that you went in every direction in the same way. Okay, let's try number 4. What is wrong with number 4? So what am I going to do? Add x squared to both sides. X squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 25. What's my center then? And what is my radius? So we're going to go 0 down 3. We're going to go 5 in each direction. Yay, pretty circle. Okay, you ready? We're going to skip number 5. And we're going to do number 6, which is some complete the square stuff. Alright. So I'm going to rewrite this where the x's are next to each other, the y's are next to each other, that kind of thing. So first I'm going to say x squared plus 6x, I would leave a space, plus y squared equals negative 5. Okay. We have to do complete the square. You did this when you did quadratics back in Algebra 1. Okay? You probably did factoring, complete the square, and then the quadratic formula. Okay? If that helps references. What we're going to do is we're going to add something to x squared plus 6x to make it a perfect square. And perfect square is like, I can go like x plus 5 squared. Okay? So how we're going to do this is we're going to take 6, we're going to divide it by 2, and we're going to square it, which gives me what? 6 divided by 2 squared, guys. Good. I'm going to add 9 to both sides of the equal sign. Now, x squared plus 6x plus 9 just gives me x plus 3 squared plus y squared equals 4. Now, what's my center? Negative 3 comma 0. And what's my radius? 2. So I'm going to go negative 3. Sorry. Yes?
How did you get the second equation?
This one? I said I factored this right here. X squared plus 6x plus 9 factors to x plus 3 squared. So I'm at negative 3, 0. And then I'm going to go 2, 2, 2, 2. There's my circle. Okay. You ready for another one like this? All right, looking at number 7, what's the first thing I want to do? Get all the y's on one side, right? So I'm going to subtract that negative 6y from this side. So I get x squared plus y squared. What's 2y minus 6y? Negative 4y. I'm going to leave a space equals 32. So far, so good? Okay. So I need negative 4 divided by 2 squared. What's negative 4 divided by 2? Negative 4 divided by, let's do the steps, guys. Negative 4 divided by 2. Negative 2 squared is? 4. Okay. I get that you guys are saying 4, but remember I'm also recording this and I want to make sure everybody catches on to what we're doing, okay? Plus 4. Okay, now I'm just looking at this part. I can bring down my x squared plus y squared minus 4y plus 4. What does that factor to? Squared. 32 plus 4 is 36. So what's my center?
0, 2.
And what's my radius? Good. I'm going to go 0 up 2. Then I'm going to go 6 in every direction. All right, ready for number 8? Or you need a minute? Okay. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract this 2y. And then I'm going to rewrite it with things next to each other. I'm going to say x squared plus 14x space y squared minus 2y space equals negative 41. I'm going to have to do 2 complete the squares for one thing. Okay? All right, so I've got 14 divided by 2 squared. What do I get? So I'm going to add 49 next to the x's and add 49 on the other side of the equal sign. Okay? Now I've got negative 2. So I'm going to go negative 2 divided by 2 squared, and I get 1. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. What is x squared plus 14x plus 49 factored to? Good. What is y squared minus 2y plus 1 factored to? Not plus, but minus 1. And negative 41 plus 49 plus 1 gives me 9. So what's the center? Radius?
3.
Good. So I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up 1, and then 3 in each direction. Yes. Yep. Okay. So the first thing I did is get the negative 2y to the other side, right? And I put the x squared next to the 14x and the 2y next to the negative 2y. The y squared next to the negative 2y. Then I said, okay, there's a 14 in front of my x. So I'm going to divide that by 2 and square it and add it to both sides. That gives me 49. So I add that to both sides of the equal sign. Then what's in front of the y? Negative 2. Negative 2 divided by 2 squared is 1. So I add 1 to both sides. Then I ask myself, what is x squared plus 14x plus 49 factor? X plus 7 squared. Then what is y squared minus 2y plus 1 factored? Y minus 1 squared. Ms. Murphy speaking. Okay, yep, bye. Garden, they need you, and they said you'll be returning. So make sure you write a pass. Okay, and then I just added negative 41 plus 49 plus 1 together and got 9. Any questions about this? I give you 3 different examples of complete the square. You'll have to do some for your homework, but you've got these examples here to try. Okay? All right, let's look at the back. Okay, I'm not gonna do all these on the back. Okay? But I do want you to recall that the distance formula is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Who remembers the midpoint formula? x1 plus x2 divided by 2. And y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Okay? Yeah. Algebra 1 and geometry. We did it both. Okay. So, we remember radius looks like...
Sorry.
We remember radius looks like, guys, the middle to the edge, right? That's a radius. So the center to an endpoint. So we have the center, which is going to help us make an equation for a circle, but we need the radius. So I'm going to have to do the distance. So I'm going to label this x1, y1, x2, y2. So that's the square root of -4 minus a -2 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And I get that the radius equals square root 40. Okay? Then I'm simply going to put this in my formula for circles, right? Which is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So I'm going to put x plus 2 squared plus y minus 6 squared equals 40. And I'm done.
We move up to the
Hmm?
we show the formulas.
Okay, and then I'm going to do one at the bottom where you're going to have to use both formulas. And then I'm going to be done. Okay,
What's the comma? What do you do with the comma?
there's just two things. I'll show you in just a second. Okay, yes,
Go back down to the equation.
here. Okay. If I give you two endpoints of a circle, what does that mean I'm giving you? Do you guys remember what that's called? Diameter, correct? And the center is in the? So you think we're going to have to use midpoint? If I give you two endpoints and I want you to find the center? Okay. We're going to look at number 9. Does everybody have this down? Do we need another second? I don't want to go too fast, but yeah.
So what does 40 mean? What is
That's the radius squared. So you'd have to take the square root of that to find the radius.
Wait, what? How'd you find that?
So
I found the distance formula.
So distance is diameter.
Distance is the radius, in this case, because I gave you the center and the endpoint. So then that's radius equals the square root of 40. So to put in my formula, I squared it and got 40. All right, we're going to look at number 11. These are both endpoints. Neither of these are the center. We got that, right? So first we're going to find a distance to find, and then we have to divide that by 2 to find the radius, correct? Okay, so distance equals, if this is x1, y1, x2, y2, I'm going to say the square root of 5 minus a -1 squared plus 6 minus 8 squared. I get the square root of 40, correct? So far, so good? Okay, but that's not the radius, that's the diameter. What's the radius? Half of 40, which is? Okay, can I change the square root in 20 to make it simplify? What two numbers multiply to give me 20? Okay, so the square root of 5 times 4, what's the square root of 4? So I get 2 square root 5, right? Okay.
Wait, what?
That was simplifying radicals. Okay, I'm not going to go over that again. All right, midpoint. Midpoint, I'm going to take x1, -1, plus x2, which is 5, divided by 2. And why am I finding the midpoint? Because the middle is the what of the circle? Center. And then I'm going to take 8 plus 6 divided by 2, and I get the center of my circle is 2, 7. Get it now why there's a comma? That's my center. This is my radius. So I'm just going to go x minus 2 squared plus x minus 7 squared equals, we want to square this, right? 2 times 2 is 4. Square root of 5 times square root of 5 is 5. 5 times 4 is 20. Okay? So there are some on your homework where you're going to deal with two endpoints where you have to use two formulas to get your answer. Some you're given the center and an endpoint, and you just have to use the distance formula. Right? Your homework looks just like these. I have given you at least one example of each, some of them multiple. Okay? If we look at your homework right now, number 1 and 2, you're given a center and a radius. That's just like the first ones. 3 and 4 are like the back, number 7. I've given you a center and endpoint, so you're going to have to use the distance formula.
Staff, please excuse this interruption. At this time, teachers, please refer to your email. At this time, teachers, please refer to your email.
Okay, number 5, I'm going to do distance and midpoint for 5 and 6. For number 9, you know what this is. We've done these. Hold on, Ethan. Okay, 11 and 12 are the same. And then 13, 14, and 15 are that complete the square. Okay, Ethan, you have a question about this?
Yeah, like 3, 4, 5, and 6. What are you supposed to like?
You're supposed to write the equation
Find?
of a circle. Yep.
Just answer